everyone, welcome back to my channel. Carol here from Oak House Journals. I've got another journal share for you today. This is a bird themed mini trifold. It is 4 inches by 6 inches or 10 centimeters by 15 centimeters. There are approximately 31 inclusions, maybe 33, I'm not sure. Anyway, around about that number. In terms of pages, there are 28 pages, so obviously 56 sides. And she's tied with the usual single eyelet closure on the front and lots of this lovely blue to grey silk sari chiffon. There is a feather on the front with a lobster clasp, and this is what the cover looks like. If I can just, there's plenty of this. This is a reserved order, I'm afraid, but there is plenty of this sari chiffon. So Jill, please feel free to shorten it if you wish, but I like to, you know me, I like to include quite a bit on my closures, just so that if you want to chop it, you've got some to play with, but if you don't mind winding it round, you've got plenty to wind round. So this is what the cover looks like. A fussy cut bird image on the front, vintage papers, and going over to the back, I don't know what these birds are called, I'm sorry, so a reddish one to pick up the colours inside. So let me take you through her. So as usual, another chunky monkey, pocket at the front here, collaged with some lace and vintage papers, used stamps. This is some of the book pages from the book that I've used throughout. There is a flip and a journaling spot here, and then in this pocket, front pocket, I've done a library cabinet card with some collaging on both sides, stitched, everything stitched and inked as usual. And then this goes in that pocket there. Opens it up, or I open it up, and opening it up we go on to this page. This is a smaller image of this one on the front here, and I just thought it was a lovely image. I just wanted to leave it in. A little bit of stamping on a vintage receipt with some lace down the side. Here is a journaling card with some vintage papers on the back, and then this is a belly band. Let me just put that down. This is a belly band if you want to put something behind it, but I've used it just to clip the journaling card to it with a Ranger paper clip. So that goes on there. I'm just going to move it over a little bit. On this side there's some fussy cutting on this book page pocket. This is a French book, and then in here is a long tag with initial J on the top there for you, Jill, and some collaging on the back. So that goes in that pocket there. This is a vintage postcard. It's a happy birthday one, which I thought was quite unusual. Usually you find vintage cards, but not usually birthday postcards. So I've used that one here, and I've made a little discreet tuck spot there. This is a journaling card. I've used a layaway, part of a layaway tag on the back, but it is also a little secret journaling spot, because there is a pocket at the top there which you don't immediately see. There's nothing in it at the moment, but I thought you could pop some papers in there if you wanted to, Jill. You've got a big journaling spot here, some die cut down the side of this Chinese paper book page. This is a little flip up with a couple more journaling spots, a little bit of lace and some vintage numbers in the bottom there. Another journaling spot here with a bit of layering of tea stained paper onto piano roll paper, and then as you can see the Chinese book text. This is a ready Retina page. Excuse me again. This is a ready Retina page that I've layered underneath the tea stained paper, and I've used it again here on this side of one of my clog receipts, and this lovely image from the Janet Marsh books. I just love her images. They are just absolutely amazing. This is one of the little flip outs that I do as journaling spots. This one isn't magnetised, it sits quite nicely closed. Photo paper. Then there's a corner tuck spot here, and then I've used some book pages to create this just very simple tag with some lace on. I've done a couple of little bead dangles to hang from a coilless safety pin and some collaging on the back. Over the page, let me move you back in frame. Over the page, a flip out. There's some little bit of layering and collaging at the bottom with some washi, some stitching and some French ledger paper. And then this was fascinating. It's all about feathers, so I thought you might like to read that, Jill. More collaging in the bottom and on the opposite page, but there's still some room to journal on if you wish. Another corner tuck spot down here. And then this is the tag that I've made. Again, book pages with some collaging on it. And again, another little Janet Marsh image there in the corner. And this is some vintage lace. I think it's about 65 years of age, maybe 68 years of age if I remember rightly, 65 or 68, something around that time. So some vintage lace that I've used throughout this journal, and more collaging on the back. You know me, I like using my vintage ephemera pages. This is another first day cover that is a Charles Darwin centenary postcard, and what I've done is I've created a pocket here with the postcard on some Ranger vellum. I love this bird image, so I wanted to include that. And then inside the pocket, I'm just going to close that down so we can have a closer look at this. I've just made a little book page envelope using some French book paper and a little bit of collaging, some vintage stamps, and then that's the other side. And the closure is just one of these usual wraparound ones with some vintage linen thread. There's nothing in the pocket because, as usual, this journal was getting to be a chunky monkey, but plenty of room to tuck something in there if you wanted to. So that just wraps around the mother of pearl button, and it just sits nicely in the pocket there. And what I've done is I've done a little thumb hole so that the button will sit nicely in the thumb hole and stay secure. Over the page, this is a notebook using some ghost images of botanical birds, and you might notice in the actual journal itself that you'll see the original of some of these ghost images. I think I've certainly used that one in this book and that one as well. And then behind it there is a little bit of collaging and a belly band, and tucked in behind the belly band using some computer card, I've done a little fussy cutting and collaging, and that just slips behind it in there, out of sight. This is a flip over, I don't know what you call them, flip over tag or journaling spot. So that lifts up, and on this book page I've just used some onion paper and onion skin paper and a Janet Marsh image. And then in this pocket here there is a little tag with some lace on top, some washi in the corners, a little label there, and some collaging on the back with more washi. There we go, closer look. And that just goes in the top pocket there. I love, again, I like how these fan pieces of lace just sit nicely in the little thumb holes that I punch out. You just set up this page again. This is the reverse of that flip up, flip out tag spot thing. That's the back, and then inside this is the collaging. And as I say, that just sits over the top of the page. This page on the reverse, I've just put some Tracy Fox labels on and some lace, and it just opens out. Just love these images. And tucked away in this pocket here, which I've stitched onto the page and edged with a little bit of lace, what I've done here is I've created a little seed type envelope with some origami folds and included this lovely image as a writing spot. So that just closes up like so, flips inside each other like that, and then it just tucks away in the pocket. So I'll just pop this over the other side. There we go. Here I've just created a little corner tuck using some little pieces of Ranger or Tim Holtz paper, designer paper. I've used one of his little tags and put a little bird image inside it, and then this is a definition from the bird book that I've been using, and then this is just a page out of a bird book which I thought was quite interesting, and it just tucks up behind in that corner there. Over the page, this is some fabric that I've stamped on, and then at the top I've just put a coilless paper pin with safety pin with a little fringing or a little tassel on it. Anybody that knows Edith Holden will know that this is one of her book pages. Lovely gentle image, really like that, so wanted to include it in the journal and just keep it very, very simple. So all I've done is stitch round the outside, and on the other side that's the image there. Just beautiful, isn't it? It's I don't know, a bird attacking some thistles, but I just thought that was lovely. So here all I've done is a little bit of reinforcing and some zigzag stitching down the side. Here is an observer book page that is just clipped onto the page using a Ranger paper clip, and there's a tiny little silver bird charm at the top, some more of this vintage lace, and I've stitched some across the bottom. Cut out some Janet Marsh feather images and created a little lace pocket at the bottom, and there are a couple of die cuts that I've cut out of some antique papery paper which I thought looked nice and delicate, and inside here is a tiny little feather that I found, but you can get access to it if you want to. That is open, and in fact, having done that, it's just moved slightly, so there we go. And then that just flips down, and actually it just tucks into the little lace pocket at the bottom of the tag. So just a little simple embellishment, and I've not folded that down neatly enough. There we go, she just sits nicely tucked into that pocket there. There is a corner cluster of lace in the top corner here with a rustic paper safety pin and a little dangle, bead dangle, glass bead dangle, a little image of a bird. And then I'm just going to clip this back into place, this observer tag. There we go. Because we're now at the centre of the journal. So a lovely image in the middle, as you can see. There we go. If I move it up, there we go. 2 vellum pockets, and these are 2 of the little Kodak slides that I did an earlier video showing how I made those. So I've just tucked them in the pocket there. I've turned them round because they're very bright on the other side, as you saw. They're very bright yellow, so it doesn't quite go with the theme that I've got going on this page. A simple book page tag here with some of the sari silk and a computer card as my backing. And on this one, I've just done some lace at the bottom and at the side. And this is another lace pocket in there. There we go, that just sits in there. Over the page, this is a piece of ephemera that I've scanned and put onto some aged vellum, and there's a remnant rub in the corner. Another image from the Edith Holden book and some collaging at the bottom, and then that's the image on the reverse of the page with some collaging again at the bottom here. More collaging down the side of this brown paper, painter's masking paper. And again here on this side, I'm just going to remove that. There is a snowy owl image which opens up, and in this pocket, which is a vintage tea card, bit of collaging down the side, I've put in a couple of homemade playing cards. These are vintage Japanese playing cards, and I've altered it and collaged on it to create that. So that just sits in the pocket here with those 2 little ones there. Love this image, so I wanted to keep it, and what I've done is I've created a side pocket here and put in a piece of book page. Love this image as well, and if you remember, this was on the notepad that was earlier on in the journal, so this is one of the original pages, whereas the notepaper was the ghosted image of this. And there's a lovely piece of prose on the back by Florence Miriam Bailey, and it's about it's entitled Among the Birds in the Grand Canyon. So I just thought that was lovely to include, so I hope you like that, Jill. So that just goes in the side there. And then on the other side, you saw me unclip something. Well, this is the reverse of a tag that was clipped there, and this is the front image of that tag with a little label. So that just clips on the side for interest. Here's some fussy cutting of a book page, and I've glued it onto some vellum that I've stitched round. I've created a collaged glassine pocket on this side with a vintage tea card, and I've just put a little bit of lace at the top so that it ties in with the rest of the page. Here's a side tuck using some Ranger paper, and this is a tag I've created. If I can get that in shot for you. I like this tag. I just love the soft greens and the collaging. Janet Marsh image, another one of those little Tim Holtz press tags, and another little label there, more of that vintage lace. Just simple, and then gentle collaging on the back. And that just goes under that side tuck there. Over the page there is another side tuck, but this time I've used some book page to make a little notebook with a tuck tuck spot there behind the lace, and then that just sits in there. This is a decorated glassine pocket with some lace here, and just refreshing my computer there, sorry. Some collaging with some lace, sari silk, eyelash trim, little labels. There is a journaling card, just a plain one this time, tucked in the front pocket, and a flash card in the back pocket, like so. Over the page, just some washi at the edge of this page. It flips open. There's a big journaling spot here and a tag in this pocket here. And again, as you've seen me do in previous videos, I've just trapped the lace in the eyelet. There's some lace sewn down the side, more of this vintage lace, and some vintage book page, ledger page on the back. There we go. On this side, the photo album protective paper. Here I've done a wraparound journaling spot. So here is a plain page for journaling on, and this is the wraparound that I've done, and it's a 3-piece one. So you have the ghost images here that I've used for the notebook, the original images, and then on this side the diary page, more ghost images, and the original. So it's very simple, but I like how these work out, and I love the way that they look when they are wrapped round the pages, she says, when I can do it. So that just goes on there. Over the page there's just a image of a capo, apparently. I thought it was a parrot, but apparently it's a capo, a capapo. I put some lace on the bottom, sorry about my pronunciation. There's a little image, little tag there that I've laid on. I found this image on a postcard and had loads of attempts at scanning it, and I eventually managed to get a lovely copy on this tea-stained paper that I was happy with. So I've just backed it onto some English book page and stitched it onto the page, but I really love that image. I absolutely adore wrens. They have sensible names. I can pronounce wrens. So we've got a G Pure lace pocket here. This is just a journaling card, and it looks like a vintage envelope on the back. Over the page, just some edging with tea stain paper, and then I've cut out some die cuts from antique papery paper that I had left over. Here is a flap. I've just put a small paper clip to hold it closed. This is Amity Bloom botanical stamps. I had trouble with this last time trying to remember what it was, but these are from Amity Bloom anyway, and they're tiny little stamp images, which are great, and I love them. They're very pretty. I put a vintage stamp on the bottom to add a bit of interest. This is a glassine envelope, or a glassine bag, as you can see, with more of the die cut, and then inside I have used one of the pages from the Janet Marsh book to create another pocket. There's nothing in this one because, sorry, she was getting very chunky, Jill, but this card is a bit wide to go in this pocket, but it is a pocket that goes all the way down, obviously, and that just goes in there. And I actually love the way that you've got that soft image peeking through the glassine with the die cut on the front. I think that works really well, and I was so pleased at how delicate it looked. So this is the other side of the glassine bag, and I've made two little tuck spots. So this is the tag that goes into the top tuck spot. Just very simple. That's the back. And then this is a little tiny envelope that I made using the same paper. It's got a circle closure on the back, and then inside I've put another one of those Tim Holtz Ranger tags that I've put a bird image in. It's just plain on the back, but I just thought you could use it somewhere, Jill, if you wanted to. So that just pops in there. That closes down and that flap goes over. And then I've just used a Ranger paper clip just to shut it. But I'll leave that off at the moment so I can show you this actually. This is a little journaling spot that I've created, and it just opens up like so with a little bit of collaging there. So very, very simple idea, using some book pages on the outside, and then on the inside just lined with tea stained paper. And I've just made a little heart shape tag to finish off my threads. So that paper clip just goes on there. This flap will stay shut, but I just thought it was quite nice to put a paper clip on there. Here we have a Glassine envelope that I've collaged, and inside there are 3 gorgeous feathers that I found. I'm not going to take them out. Jill, if you don't like feathers, then obviously you can take them out and dispose of them or do with them as you will, but I just found them and I thought they were absolutely lovely, so I wanted to include them in the journal for you. And then over the page, now I hope you like this. I'm not too sure about it myself, but I came across this lovely fabric with bird images on it. So it's very, very fine, and I wanted to include it in the journal. It's got rough, torn edges, and I hope it's your thing, and that you like the idea. I vacillate a bit between liking it and not. Anyway, I decided to go with my gut instinct and include it in the journal, so I do hope you like it. It is very fine, it is very floppy, so what I have done is, by putting the Glassine envelope on the other side and using a Ranger paper clip, it does help to hold it in place so that it doesn't flop around too much. On this side, I have stitched round the page, put a little bit of lace at the bottom with a vintage button, and then created a journaling spot here, vellum pocket here, and a very plain tag with some collaging and some fussy cutting on the back. Love this image there, which I didn't particularly want to cover up and hide, so at least when the tag's removed you can see that lovely image. The nice thing about this very fine chiffon, sari chiffon, is that it takes up no room at all in a journal, so it's really nice to use for tags. Over the page I had this feather tag that I created, and it's a feather again that I found that I've put between some acetate and stitched, put some remnant rubs on, and I just thought that was a lovely feather, and that is just clipped with a Ranger paper clip to this page here. And then as you can see, the back pockets have been collaged and layered with a bit of lace. And then finally, in this pocket here, I've created one of these journaling spot envelopes that I did a tutorial on. A little bit of collaging. I think this is Kaisercraft paper. And you can journal all inside here, or put something in to keep it safe. And the closure, as you can see, is just, I call these wage slip closures, or wage envelope closures, but somebody please tell me the correct name, because I don't know what it is. So we use stamps there, and then just a vellum pocket on the back for something to go inside. and some collaging on the outside. So there you have it. That's my reserved order for Jill. I really hope you like it, Jill, and thank you so much everybody for bearing with me as I've gone through the journal. As always, another chunky monkey, but that's the joy of these trifold mini journal covers. They are so forgiving. Let me just refresh my camera. There we go. They are absolutely so forgiving if you get a bit carried away, as I always seem to, with decorating and filling up the journals. So let me just wrap this sorry chiffon round. There we go. So that's my little bird themed trifold mini. Thank you so much for watching, everybody. As I say, hope you enjoyed the flip through. Take care and have a lovely Easter weekend break. Bye bye now, everybody. Bye bye.